Naomi Carter never forgot the sound. It wasn't the siren or the door slam or even the screaming that had woken the whole neighborhood that night. It was Caleb's voice, thin, confused, pleading. "I didn't do anything!" She could still hear it, years later, echoing through the quiet hum of the elevator rising toward the 7th floor of the FBI's Justice Building in D.C. The doors opened. Naomi stepped out, heels clicking soft on marble. Her posture straight, her expression unreadable. She was a doctor on paper, a profiler in practice, and a sister in pain. Inside the conference room, a whiteboard was already filled with red circles and arrows. Faces, reports, body cam screenshots, all connected to one name, Detective Eric Lawson. Director Alan Green didn't waste time. He pointed to the wall like a man marking a target. "Lawson's been clean on paper for nearly 2 decades, he began, tone clipped. But complaints follow him like flies. 42 total, none sustained. 3 suspects hospitalized, 1 dead, no charges. Internal affairs is useless. They know how to bury things in Jefferson County." Naomi sat quietly, taking in the photos. Lawson had the face of a politician. Clean cut, sharp smile, eyes that never smiled back. "We've tried every approach," Green continued. "Now we go invisible. You'll be embedded at Jefferson Memorial Medical Center. Dr. Carter, neurology resident. You'll work undercover, track his movements, behavior, contacts, record everything." Naomi nodded once. No hesitation. "Understood." Green studied her. "Naomi, this isn't about revenge." "I know," she said simply. But revenge was never the point. It never had to be. Truth was enough. Later that night, Naomi returned to her apartment to pack. She opened a small wooden box. Inside, just one photo, Caleb, age 16, grinning wide in a blue hoodie. The hoodie he wore the night he was stopped for fitting a description. That night had left him broken. Seizures, partial paralysis, night terrors. Naomi didn't become FBI to punish the men who did it. She became FBI to expose the system that protected them. 3 days later, she arrived in Jefferson County. The air felt heavier, not because of the weather, though the late September heat clung to everything, but because of what she knew waited for her behind those glass hospital doors. Jefferson Memorial was busy, but not chaotic, the kind of place where people worked hard but didn't ask too many questions. Perfect for what she needed. She met the hospital director, Dr. Michael Rodriguez, formal, polite, precise. Then Patricia Coleman, hospital admin and FBI liaison. "Play it cool," Patricia whispered. "Rodriguez doesn't know your bureau. No one does. Keep it tight." Naomi adjusted quickly. She set up her locker, reviewed patient files, smiled at nurses, drank bad coffee, learned the layout, every step calculated. What she didn't expect was how fast Lawson appeared. It was day 3 on the job. A crash in the ER, voices raised. 2 officers dragged in a teenage boy, black, thin, bleeding at the lip. Lawson followed, stone-faced. He shoved the clipboard toward the nurse and barked, "Just clear him, he's faking half of it." Naomi observed from the hallway. The teen's eyes darted around, terrified. Lawson loomed over him, arms crossed. "You resisted arrest," Lawson said flatly. "That's on you." Naomi watched him. Every movement, every inflection. She said nothing, just memorized. Later, in the break room, Nurse Jamie leaned in close. "Lawson's always like that with black kids," she whispered. "Different tone, different rules." Naomi sipped her coffee. "Noted." That night, back at her apartment, Naomi logged into the secure FBI network. She uploaded the video from her glasses embedded cam. No violence, but the tone, the aggression, it was clear. "First drops in," she typed to Marcus, their data tech in D.C. 5 minutes later, he replied, "Good angle. Audio clean. We're logging tone triggers. Keep close." She stared at the message, then at the video. Lawson's voice, cold and casual. It sent something cold through her, This wasn't going to be fast or easy, but she was here, and he had no idea who he was dealing with. The next morning, Naomi stood at her mirror, tied her hair back, slipped on the white coat, adjusted her badge, Dr. N. Carter, Neurology. Then she pulled open her drawer, looked once more at Caleb's photo. "Let's begin," she said softly. The first rule of undercover work is simple. Don't stand out. Naomi Carter knew that, lived it, breathed it, which is why she spent her first 2 weeks at Jefferson Memorial not chasing cops, but learning the rhythm. Hospital shifts had their own heartbeat. Morning, paperwork and broken wrists. Midday, lunchtime chaos and not enough chairs. Nights, everything from heart attacks to headaches with a side of domestic violence. Naomi floated through it all like a seasoned doc, smiling just enough, asking just enough, caring just enough. But she was always watching, especially for him. On Tuesday morning, the day started quiet. Too quiet. Then came the call. "Officer inbound with suspect. Possible head trauma. Room 4. The intercom buzzed. Naomi adjusted her glasses, tapped her pen, and headed toward the ER bay. And there he was, Detective Eric Lawson, broad-shouldered, pressed uniform, expression unreadable. He held the arm of a young man, black, about 18, who limped slightly and avoided eye contact. Lawson barely glanced at Naomi. "You the doc?" Naomi nodded. "Yes, Dr. Carter." He raised an eyebrow. "New?" She smiled politely. "Week 3. "Great," he muttered, pushing the suspect onto the gurney. He tripped trying to run, scratched his damn head on the sidewalk. The boy winced. Naomi noted dried blood at his hairline, abrasion on the cheek, and swollen knuckles. "Name?" she asked. Lawson shrugged. "Didn't ask." Naomi met the boy's eyes. "Can you tell me your name?" "Jalen," he whispered. Lawson barked. "You don't talk unless she asks you, kid." Naomi didn't react, just made a note. Aggressive tone, dismissive, assumes authority beyond scope. "I'll need a few minutes alone," she said calmly. Lawson rolled his eyes. "Be my guest, but don't baby him." Naomi turned back to Jalen, gently inspecting the wound. "Did he hit you?" Jalen hesitated. "Nah, I fell." She didn't push. Not yet. Instead, she whispered, "You're safe in here. Just breathe." He blinked fast, swallowed hard, then nodded. Later, in the break room, Nurse Jamie handed Naomi a cup of weak coffee. "You got Lawson duty today?" she asked. Naomi smirked. "Apparently." Jamie leaned in. "He's a piece of work. Doesn't yell, doesn't hit, just makes people disappear." Naomi's heart skipped. "Disappear?" she echoed. Jamie looked around, lowered her voice. "We had a kid 2 months ago. Minor concussion. Lawson brought him in. By morning, gone. No discharge, no transfer. Just gone. Paperwork vanished." Naomi sipped her coffee, pretending not to shake inside. "Do you remember the name?" she asked. Jamie frowned. "Malik. Maybe Malik Grant? Something like that." Naomi typed the name into her secure notes under missing suspect list, potential witness. That night, Naomi reviewed body cam footage Lawson had submitted. Except there wasn't any. Marcus confirmed. "His unit uploads everything late. Timestamps show editing, sloppy stuff, but no one's flagging it." "Because no one wants to flag it," Naomi replied. She paused, staring at the paused image on her laptop. Lawson exiting his car, a timestamp blurred, a shadow behind him that shouldn't have been there. "Enhance quadrant 4, she typed. Jasmine, their tech, zoomed in. "Looks like another figure, possibly handcuffed. Not mentioned in the report. Want me to dig?" Naomi's reply was instant. "Yes, cross with ER logs. Let's find this ghost." The next morning, Naomi walked into the ER and found Lawson already there, arms folded, watching her. "Doc," he said curtly. She nodded. "Detective." You talked to the kid yesterday? Which one? He narrowed his eyes. You know which. Naomi kept her tone breezy. I treat patients. I don't interrogate them. Lawson stepped closer. Just remember who keeps this place safe. She didn't blink. I'll remember you said that. Their standoff lasted 4 seconds. Then he turned and walked away. Jamie walked by seconds later and whispered, Girl, that man does not like being talked back to. Naomi smiled faintly. Good. That night, a new name showed up on her encrypted tablet. Malik Grant, age 19, missing since July, last seen, in custody of Officer E. Lawson. No charges filed, no arrest report. Gone, just like Jamie said. Naomi typed only 2 words in the field beneath. He's real. Sunday afternoon, Naomi volunteered for ambulance triage duty. It got her out of the hospital and into the field, just what she needed. At 4:32 p.m., a call came in. Minor altercation outside Oxmoor Center. Suspect non-compliant. Officer on scene requested EMT standby. Naomi arrived in 15 minutes. And there was Lawson, holding a boy, maybe 16, against the hood of a patrol car. The boy was crying, his face against the hot metal. Thought you were gonna run, Lawson growled. The boy shook his head. I didn't do nothing. I was just walking. Naomi stepped in carefully. Medical requested? Lawson turned. He says he's dizzy, probably heat stroke or guilt. Naomi ignored the jab. Let me check him. She placed a hand on the boy's shoulder. You okay? He flinched. He pushed me. I hit the curb. Lawson snorted. Curb jumped up and smacked him, huh? Naomi made quick notes. Bruising on shoulder, abrasions on hands. No signs of serious injury, but definitely rough handling. She glanced at Lawson. I'm reporting this as a possible use of force. He rolled his eyes. Go ahead. No one'll read it. Naomi smiled. You'd be surprised. That evening, Naomi uploaded the Oxmoor footage. Marcus responded 10 minutes later. Good angle. Clean shot of the boy's face and injury. We'll find him. Jasmine added, Lawson used a side alley. No cameras, except your lens. You just caught something big. Naomi closed her laptop and sat in silence. Outside, the sounds of Jefferson County rolled on. Cars, laughter, life. But inside her world, the air was different now. Lawson had made contact, and from now on, every move he made was being recorded. It wasn't the punch, it wasn't the bruises. It was the voice of a kid, barely 16, whispering to Naomi in the back parking lot of the hospital. He said if I ever came back here, he'd make sure nobody found me next time. It started simple. Naomi had just ended a late shift and stepped out to breathe. The fall air was cooling finally. Crisp, clean, almost peaceful. Then she saw it. Detective Lawson near the side lot, his hand gripping the collar of a boy's hoodie. The boy, skinny, scared, was standing stiff against a squad car. Lawson was talking low, firm. Not shouting, just threatening. Naomi didn't move, didn't interrupt. She reached up and tapped her glasses. The discreet camera began to record. You think this place protects you? Lawson muttered. Try me again. See what happens. The kid didn't respond. Naomi watched as Lawson gave him a final shove, then climbed into his cruiser and pulled off. The boy turned, face pale and shaking. That's when Naomi stepped forward. You okay? He flinched. I'm fine, just a misunderstanding. She kept her voice calm. You want to sit down? I've got water. He hesitated, then nodded. They sat on the curb. I'm Naomi, she said. You don't have to talk, but I'll listen. The kid looked down. He pulled me over 'cause my bike didn't have a light, said I fit a profile. Then, I don't know, said I mouthed off. Did you? Naomi asked. He shook his head. Didn't say a word. Naomi believed him. I'm going to need your name, she said gently. The boy paused, then said, Tyson. No last name, but it was a start. Back in her apartment, Naomi uploaded the clip. The audio was grainy but clear enough. Lawson's voice, threatening. Jasmine pinged first. This is the kind of footage that gets people suspended, if the system's honest. Marcus added, got partial plate from his cruiser. Tied to a separate incident last month. Same alley. Another teen. We're connecting dots. Naomi typed, what's the timeline on that? Marcus replied, 2 weeks before you arrived. Kid's name, Isaiah Polk. No arrest record. But hospital admitted him for bruised ribs. No paperwork from PD. Another ghost, another shadow. The next day, Naomi tried to find Tyson again. No sign of him. No one knew his full name. She left her number with the night nurse. If he comes back or asks for me, just tell him Dr. Carter's looking out. The nurse nodded. We get a lot of boys like him. They never stay long. Naomi sighed. That's the problem. Friday came. Another rotation, another report. But this time, something different. A name missing from Lawson's logs. Marcus flagged it. He picked up a detainee Tuesday. Boy named Elijah Banks. Not listed in any report. No body cam, no ER record. We only know because Elijah's mom called 911 saying he never came home. Naomi froze. Elijah Banks, 15, last seen being walked into custody. Lawson was the last to see him, and no one knew where he was. Naomi pulled security footage from the hospital's rear loading dock. There, Lawson's cruiser. Timestamp, 7:43 p.m. Back passenger door opened. A figure stepped out. Small build, hoodie, matching Elijah's description. They walked inside. 20 minutes later, Lawson exited alone. No patient admitted. No report filed. That night, Naomi stayed up late reviewing the footage over and over. In one frame, she caught something. Barely visible. Lawson glancing up toward a camera, then tilting his head. A slight smirk. He knew. He knew where the blind spots were. He was playing the system like a piano. She typed into her secure log. Pattern confirmed. Lawson targets minors. No formal charges. Avoids documentation. Has insider access to scrub logs. Marcus messaged, we need to act soon. One wrong move, and this kid ends up like Caleb. Naomi's hand froze on the keyboard. That name, that weight. Flashback, 2 years earlier. Caleb in a hospital bed, tubes in his nose, eyes barely open, his hands trembling. A nurse adjusting machines. I didn't fight, he whispered. I swear. Naomi had held his hand, blinking back tears. I believe you, she said. She would always believe him. Now a different boy, Elijah, was missing, and Lawson had left no trail, unless Naomi made one. The next morning, Naomi entered the station. Officially? Just dropping off forms. Unofficially? Slipping a USB into the central printer server and syncing with their internal camera system. The receptionist didn't even glance at her badge. She smiled, thanked him, and left. By nightfall, Jasmine had full access. And what they found. At 7:51 p.m., Tuesday, internal camera feed showed Lawson guiding Elijah into interview room 3. No officer present, no paperwork submitted. 8:16 p.m., Lawson exited alone. 8:35 p.m., janitor entered, saw nothing unusual. Elijah never left the building, on record, but a side exit camera caught a figure, a teen in handcuffs, being loaded into an unmarked van. License plate, covered. Driver, unknown. Naomi's heart pounded. They weren't just covering for Lawson anymore. They were moving kids off the grid. She messaged Green. Sir, I have cause to escalate. He replied within 5 minutes. Proceed, carefully. We're prepping Operation Blue Shield for Phase 2. Keep eyes on Lawson. Trust no one else. That night, Naomi made a choice. She wasn't waiting for the next ghost. She was going to find Elijah, alive. It started with a shopping trip, just a quick errand, Naomi told herself. The hospital had run out of a specific type of therapeutic head wrap used for seizure patients. Dr. Rodriguez asked for a volunteer to run to the medical supply kiosk inside Oxmoor Center. Naomi raised her hand. "Stretch your legs," he said. Naomi nodded, but this wasn't just a stretch. She had a hunch. Oxmoor Center on a Saturday afternoon was chaos in khakis. Families, strollers, kids racing each other through the food court. Naomi walked with purpose, her white coat folded into her tote bag. Today, she was just a shopper, except Lawson was already here. She spotted him near the fountain, talking to two uniformed officers. His hands rested on his hips. His eyes scanned the crowd, not like a cop looking for crime, but like a man looking for a reason. Then she saw her, a young black mother with two kids, one in a stroller, the other maybe 5, bouncing ahead. Lawson stepped into their path. Naomi slowed, watching from a distance. The little boy had wandered a few feet from the stroller. His mother called, "Jordan, stay close!" He turned and ran back, laughing. Lawson stopped them. "Ma'am, your child just left your supervision in a public space," he said, tone flat. The mother blinked. He was 3 steps away. Lawson pointed at the boy. He could have been snatched in two. Naomi's stomach turned. The woman straightened. "I have him in my sight. He didn't go anywhere." Lawson didn't move. "I'm going to need to see ID." Naomi stepped closer. "Everything okay here, officer?" she asked, keeping her tone friendly. Lawson turned. His eyes narrowed. "Do I know you?" Naomi smiled. "Dr. Carter. We met at the hospital." He didn't smile back. "You're not in uniform." "I'm off duty, but I couldn't help noticing this mother's just shopping with her children." Lawson's voice dropped, sharper. "Ma'am, you should mind your own business." The mother spoke up. "Thank you, doctor, but it's okay." Naomi turned to her gently. "You don't have to be intimidated. He has no cause here." Lawson took a step forward. People began to notice. Phones came out. A few teens paused their drinks mid-sip. Lawson's hand hovered near his holster. Naomi said evenly, "You're escalating a peaceful situation." Then, click. The unmistakable sound of a safety release. Lawson drew his sidearm, pointed it at Naomi. The crowd gasped. Someone screamed. A phone hit the floor. Naomi raised her hands. "Detective, there are children here." Lawson's eyes were cold. "You've interfered with an officer. That's obstruction." "I asked a question. That's not obstruction." "Show me ID." Naomi slowly reached for her bag, but her hand paused. She knew what ID was in there. Her real one, FBI. Lawson barked, "Now!" From the side, a voice boomed, "Detective Lawson, stand down!" Officer Brian Moore rushed in, hands raised. "Sir, we've got 20 civilians with phones on you. Holster the weapon, please." Lawson hesitated. Then, like waking from a spell, he lowered the gun. The crowd erupted. Shouts, swears, phone flashes everywhere. Naomi stood still, then slowly, calmly, stepped forward and said, "You'll want to check your department's use of force policy, Detective. I don't think this falls within guidelines." Lawson didn't respond. He just stared at her, like he was memorizing her face. Back at the hospital, Naomi sat in the locker room, shaking. Not from fear, but from fury. She replayed it in her mind. The way he moved, the way he smiled when the gun came up. He wanted control. He thought she was just another bystander. He was wrong. That night, Marcus sent a message. "Video's viral. Hashtag had gun at the mall is trending. Local news picked it up. But he's not suspended, yet." Naomi replied, "Of course not. He aimed, didn't fire. They'll say protocol was followed." Jasmine added, "We've got 3 clear angles. Audio clean. Want me to prep press version?" Naomi hesitated. "No, not yet. Not until we have Elijah. Not until we can break the whole system." Then came the knock. Patricia Coleman entered Naomi's office. Shut the door. Word is, Lawson's requesting an internal review. Of you. Naomi blinked. Me? He's digging. Asking about your past, your records, where you came from. Naomi stayed calm. Let him dig. You sure? Naomi nodded. He won't find anything. Patricia sat. He's dangerous, Naomi. You saw it today. He didn't care there were cameras. That's why we're winning, Naomi said. He's getting sloppy. At home, Naomi pulled out Caleb's photo again. She whispered, almost there. Then she wrote in her log, Lawson pulled a weapon in public without just cause. Crowd recorded. Behavior consistent with unchecked authority. Next phase, uncover protection network. Suspect, Chief Montgomery. And at the bottom, she added one more line. He finally looked scared. Naomi knew it the second she saw the tire. Front right, slashed clean through. It wasn't random, wasn't vandalism. It was a message. And it was parked in a lot marked FBI staff only. She didn't panic. Instead, she reached for her phone, dialed a secure line, and said only 2 words. We've been breached. Marcus confirmed it an hour later. Someone's leaking from the inside, he said. Login trail from our Jefferson node shows unauthorized access. Twice? Both times? During Reeves' shifts. Naomi stared at the monitor. Agent Thomas Reeve. Mid-level, clean record, dry sense of humor. He'd been on this operation since day 1. And now, he was the mole. Jasmine pulled security footage. Reeve had swiped into Naomi's safehouse garage, had lingered near her vehicle. No direct evidence, yet. But combined with the access logs, it was enough. Naomi sat back in her chair, exhaled slowly. He's been feeding Lawson, she said. Every step we made that got too close. He found a way to sabotage it. Should we pull the plug? Marcus asked. Naomi shook her head. No, we accelerate. The decision was clear. Naomi needed hard evidence. Now. Phase 2 of Operation Blue Shield wasn't just surveillance anymore, it was infiltration. That night, Naomi put on civilian clothes, tied her hair back, and met Officer Brian Moore in an unmarked van parked 2 blocks from the precinct. You sure about this? He asked, adjusting the comms unit in his ear. I'm out of time, she said. Elijah's still missing. Reeves compromised. If we wait, Lawson covers every track. Moore nodded. We've mapped the basement archive, internal affairs reports, scrub logs, body cam backups, all in one place. Naomi loaded her flash drives and backup batteries. Then that's where I'm going. Inside Louisville Metro Police headquarters, the lights flickered slightly. Cheap wiring in the older wing. Naomi moved fast. Moore kept watch by the door, earpiece active. Downstairs in the records room, the air was cold, smelled of dust and bleach. She slid open the drawer marked Use of Force, 2022, 2023. Dozens of files, but one stood out. Banks, Elijah, no file found. Naomi frowned. There was supposed to be a file. There was always a file. She checked the system. Same result. Deleted? Never entered? Then, footsteps. Heavy. Confident. Not more. Lawson. He stood in the doorway, arms crossed, eyes dark. Funny place for a doctor, he said. Naomi turned, expression calm. I like dusty places. They hide secrets. Lawson stepped forward. You're not who you say you are. Naomi didn't flinch. Neither are you. His lip curled. So what's the plan? You collect your little notes, run to Washington, ruin a few careers? No, she said. I expose the truth. Lawson pulled his gun. Naomi didn't move. You think I won't do it? He asked. She met his eyes. I hope you do. And then he said it. The sentence that sealed everything. When I put my knee on his neck, he knew the game was over. Same look in every one of them, like they realize it's too late. Naomi's heart stopped. But her fingers didn't. She tapped her earring. Live recording. Before he could react, the room filled with light, flashlights, shouts. FBI! Drop your weapon! Lawson turned, stunned. Moore and 2 agents surged in, guns drawn. Lawson froze. Naomi stepped forward. "Your confession's already uploaded," she said. He blinked, and for the first time, he looked afraid. Later, in an interview room upstairs, Reeve sat in cuffs. "You don't understand," he muttered. "He's my brother. I didn't want anyone dead. I just thought I was helping him stay safe." Naomi said nothing, just recorded his words. He would talk, and Montgomery, the chief, would follow. That night, Naomi stood outside the precinct, rain falling soft. Moore joined her, hands in his pockets. "You did it," he said. Naomi shook her head. "We did, but we're not done." Moore nodded. "I want in, permanent, oversight division." Naomi looked at him. "You sure?" He smiled. "You don't heal a house by walking away. You stay. You fix it." Back at her apartment, Naomi typed her final report for the night. Lawson, apprehended. Reeve, detained. Montgomery, pending. Blue Shield Phase 3 approved. Target, systemic reform. Then, under her breath, she added, "Elijah, we're still looking for you." They took Lawson out in cuffs. No fight, no noise, just silence. The kind that meant it was finally over. But for Naomi, it wasn't relief. Not yet. Because somewhere out there, Elijah Banks was still missing. The morning after Lawson's arrest, Naomi stood in front of the U.S. Capitol in Washington, D.C., clutching her notes. Inside, a special congressional hearing was underway. Title, Use of Force and Racial Bias in Law Enforcement, the Jefferson County case. Director Alan Green sat beside her. "You ready?" he asked. Naomi nodded. "This time they're going to hear all of it." And they did. She spoke plainly. No headlines, no grandstanding, just truth. She told them about Caleb, about Tyson, about Elijah, about body cams that were never turned on, and reports that were never filed. She played the audio of Lawson's confession. The room went silent. Then she looked straight at the committee and said, "Justice isn't punishment, it's protection. You don't fix a system by replacing a man. You fix it by changing the rules." The reforms came slowly, but they came. Jefferson County launched an independent civilian review board. Every officer was fitted with mandatory live-streamed body cams. Internal Affairs was no longer managed by the department. Captain Brian Moore took over a new division, the Integrity Task Force. And Elijah? They found him. Living 2 counties over, under a false name, hidden by a retired officer in a cabin, too scared to come forward. He was safe now. His mother wept in Naomi's arms. 1 year later, Naomi walked through Oxmoor Center again. No badge, no camera, just her and a fresh lemonade. The mall looked the same, but it felt different. Kids laughed freely. The air didn't buzz with tension. People still remembered, of course. There were murals now, a community youth program named after Elijah, a scholarship in Caleb's name. But mostly, life moved on. Better, cleaner, freer. Naomi's phone buzzed. It was a photo from Caleb. He stood on a basketball court, whistle around his neck, surrounded by kids. His smile was real, his grip on the ball strong, his hand, once paralyzed, now holding life again. Naomi looked up at the sky and whispered, "We're still here." Then she turned toward the community booth in the mall lobby, now staffed by members of the Integrity Task Force, and smiled. It wasn't perfect, but it was justice, and it was hers. Sometimes the smallest moments leave the deepest marks. A young man smiling again after years of silence, a community mall that once echoed with fear, now filled with music and children's laughter. In the end, it wasn't the courtroom or the headlines that changed things. It was a quiet act of courage in a place where no one expected it. This story reminds us that justice doesn't always arrive with fanfare. Sometimes it walks in wearing plain clothes and a soft voice. Naomi Carter didn't raise her voice or demand revenge. She listened, she watched, and when the time came, she stood her ground. Not to punish, but to protect. In doing so, she helped a broken town begin to heal and helped the Black community reclaim something too often stolen: their dignity. In life, it's easy to judge by the surface, by uniforms, titles, the loudest voice in the room. But the truth often comes from quieter corners. The Black community in this story wasn't defined by trauma, but by resilience, grace, and the strength to demand better, not just for themselves, but for the children coming after. Naomi's quiet fight showed that you don't need to be loud to be heard, and you don't need anger to lead with power. The real lesson? When we protect our integrity, when we hold on to compassion even in the face of injustice, we don't just seek justice. We become its guardians. And just like a porch light left on at dusk, a single, steady act of goodness can guide a whole Black community and even a nation through its darkest nights. So take a moment. Think about the quiet fighters in your own life, the teachers, the nurses, the neighbors who speak up when it matters most. They don't always wear badges or carry microphones, but their strength changes lives. If this story touched your heart, consider sharing it. Not for applause, but because someone else might need to believe, just like Naomi, that standing up can still make a difference. Sometimes, the strongest voice is the one that simply refuses to look away.